Hello and welcome to today's discussion. Today, I want us to look into Gachagua and Mudavadi's roles in Ruto's government, how they intertwine, how they crisscross, and what are their roles given to them by Ruto's directive executive order today. Welcome. But first, please subscribe, like, and share. I also want to thank the subscribers. We are now at 1.4K subscribers. Thank you so much for those who have subscribed, and keep watching this video and keep sharing them. Thank you. In his executive order that created the office of the Chief Cabinet Secretary, President Ruto has also outlined the roles and duties of his key principal assistants, including that of his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua. Looking at the functions and duties in that executive order, I must say there is a very thin line between the two offices and their functions. In many cases, they overlap and crisscross, and I think could be a source of friction between the two office holders if something is not done or if they are not careful. Before we go deeper, let's look the issue of the occupancy of Harambee annex. The reorganization comes in the wake of a rumored tussle over Harambee annex, to which ideally should be the deputy president's office. But rumor had it that Ruto had allocated 2 floors in Harambee House, his office, to his deputy, and had planned Harambee annex to house the chief minister, Musalia Mudavadi. This move was seen as an attempt to have Rigathi on a short leash and keep a close eye on him, politically so to speak. But as fate would have it, Rigathi, being a cunning politician that he is, waited until Ruto was out of the country when he went to bury the Queen and later went to the US official tour and moved into Harambee Annex effortlessly without any resistance or without someone stopping him. Obviously, if Ruto had tried to evict him when he came back, it would have been messy, and I'm sure he didn't want that. The public to get to know that there is a tussle over that office. So Mudavadi had to be housed at the Kenya Railways headquarters, next to the noisy bus terminus and away from corridor of power, which is Harambee Avenue, that has some of the most powerful government offices, including Office of the President, Deputy President, Treasury, among others. Now, let's look into some of the functions of these two offices as included in the executive order. While the Deputy President's roles are outlined by the Constitution as the chief principal assistant to the President, there are no clear roles given to him, and so the President allocated him some duties in his executive order. The Deputy President will be chairing cabinet committees and overseeing implementation of its decisions. He will also coordinate, supervise the planning and implementation of programs and projects by Kenya's development partners. He will also oversee public sector reforms, among others. The Deputy President will have 2 administrative secretaries, one in charge of administrations and coordinations, and the other will be in charge of devolution and intergovernmental affairs. Now, I want to tell you that the devolution ministry was done away by Ruto in his government, but it was put under the Deputy President. So the Deputy President will be the de facto minister, cabinet minister for devolution, even though it was abolished in Ruto's government. So Mudavadi's roles will be, he will be the chief minister of this government. He will be tasked with chairing principal secretaries committees. But remember, the principal secretaries work under cabinet. So this, I think, would clash with Rigathi's role of chairing the cabinet committee. The second one will be supervising the technical monitoring and evaluation of government policies and programs and oversee their implementations. Chairing and coordinating national government legislative agenda across all ministries and departments. So basically, Mudavadi will be the link between Parliament and State House. So Mudavadi will be prosecuting and ensuring that Ruto's legislative agenda and motions are passed in Parliament. He will also be in charge of the newly created unit called Government Delivery Unit, which will be tasked with monitoring and documenting all implementation progress of all government projects. So in a nutshell, Mudavadi will be like the one tasked with implementing the agendas and policies of this government, which is a huge task. Compared, I think, to the tasks given to Rigathi, Mudavadi has been given a major role, huge role, and a role that will impact greatly in this government's failure or success. He will have two administrative secretaries. One will be in charge of parliamentary liaison and legislative agenda, and the other in charge of performance delivery and management services. Again, you see this, it's about deliveries, implementation. So basically, Mudavadi will be like the engine of this government. So Gachagua will head the supervisory and planning wing, while Mudavadi will head the implementation and coordination wing, which to me is huge. In my opinion, Mudavadi has more roles than the deputy president, and since he is the head of the implementation and coordination wing, the people are more likely to perceive him as a performer if Ruto's government delivers. They are more likely to associate Ruto's successes with Mudavadi as opposed to Rigathi Gachagua. And thus, they are more likely to associate Mudavadi with Ruto's achievement as opposed to Rigathi Gachagua, who is, according to me, will be mostly in the back room, will be mostly in the policy formulation, supervisory, which is mostly behind and always maybe behind the desk, while Mudavadi will be the face of all projects implemented and done by this government. Rigathi's roles are more obscured and hidden than Mudavadi in terms of results. People are more likely to remember what Mudavadi will have done than what Rigathi will have done. Whether this was by design or by accident, no one knows. But Mudavadi will have more impact to the Mwananchi than Rigathi. Which brings me to my closing question. Is Ruto preparing Mudavadi as his successor? Going by the roles he has given Mudavadi, going by the elevation he has elevated Mudavadi to, and if it is true that he was planning to give Mudavadi Harambee annex, then I think from where I am seated, Ruto must be preparing Mudavadi to take over after he is done with his 10 years. Whether that is true, only time will tell. But I'm interested in knowing what you think. Please comment and tell me your thoughts. And remember to share, and above all, subscribe to this channel. There is more where this came from. Thank you.